Hey, welcome to the Julia Monte channel. If we're just meeting, I am Julia Monte, and this is the Wednesday update for readers. But I think that writers, again, will benefit from this as well, because what I just plan to do is kind of walk through what is going on as far as my preparation for my upcoming book. So hopefully readers will find it interesting if you are looking forward to my upcoming book. And writers hopefully will be interested in sort of like my process and what I'm doing as far as preparing for the book. So just as a reminder, my book now is being reviewed by an editor, and so when I get that back, I will be updating, right? I'll be going and doing my revision on my novel. So as I'm waiting, what I am now thinking of is that I need to create my book cover. I need to actually think of the ideas and the type of book covers that I'm interested in, and I need to have some samples to send to my cover designer so that my cover designer has an idea of what I have in mind, because they can't create something out of nothing, right? So I need to be able to give them some ideas of book covers that I like, also what my hero and heroine look like, things like that. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go on to Amazon and just look and see what books are out there now, right? So what books within my genre are out, right? So what kind of books are readers interested in? What kind of covers are being created and produced? And I'm guessing that because if they have been, then that means that the cover designers, at other publishing houses have decided that this is something that readers would be attracted to, and this kind of gives me ideas of what is out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin by going to Amazon. So I'm taking you to my screen, to my screen so that you can just kind of follow along. Okay, I went through this whole thing and I didn't record anything the first time, so you can see I've gone over through 500 different covers. But what I'm doing is I'm looking for covers that will match what a few things. So for example, I'm going to first show you my cover. My previous cover for that was then, okay? So that was then Julia Monte. And you'll see that this was my cover, okay? And the cover was, it was a setting cover because it is a women's fiction novel, and it takes place in a small town that used to be covered with orange groves. So I wanted the orange groves there. I wanted it's close to a riverbed. Now the riverbed is dry in the little community, but it doesn't matter. It was next to a river, and this little church is it's close to the heroine's heart because her ancestors helped to build this church and the community and all of this. So it was a big thing for this book and for the main heroine. Now in my next book, it follows her daughter's story, and her daughter's returning to this town, and to take care of her mom, and it's a story really about her dealing with her roots and with the past, right? So that she never felt comfortable here, um, and didn't feel like she belonged. She didn't belong to she didn't feel comfortable with her family, but she also didn't feel like she was part of this community. So anyhow, I wanted to have, because everything is sort of branded, right? If you look at authors' work, a lot of the book covers tend to look very similar. And so I want to keep this idea, but of course I don't want the same cover. So what I was looking at, and again, it didn't record well. I didn't record at all the first time I went through it. So what I did is I looked at a bunch of books to see what was popular with women's fiction at this point. This is what I found as I was looking through these kind of 500 types of books. What I first did is I just wanted to look at women's fiction. So I wanted to see what was out there and what was popular, and what what books are what people are reading now. So the experts have decided that these were books that people were interested in. Now, because we are in the middle of summer now, I think a lot of the books that are out there do have this sort of summer theme. So you see a lot of beach, a lot of beach houses. And I saved, this twice, so I can, I guess, delete one of these. But what I kind of decided was that since it is a mother-daughter story, I want to have the the both the mom and the dad and the mom and the daughter sitting down. So they do sit in the book in the front yard around a fire pit and chat about a lot of things. And so I think that's what I'm leaning towards. So kind of keeping the idea of the orange groves in the background. In fact, I found one, so you can see this one, Debbie May Kilmer's, and this one is very similar to another book that I have, Say You'll Be Mine, where it actually takes place in a vineyard, and there actually is a table, and then there's the vineyards in the background. It's really pretty. And so instead of the green, it has a lot of blue. And so having something like, and I don't want a table again, but just having like the two characters sitting on chairs and having their back to the camera, right? So what you're looking at is the two characters that are sitting there. So I looked at this one. So I thought, so this is kind of nice. So if you could just picture like two people sitting with their backs, right? Two women, that might be kind of cool. And then instead of having like the ocean, I would have again something similar where there's like orange groves, something like that. In fact, another one that I looked at. So there was a lot of them like this. I found that there were a lot of books. So as I'm looking for a book cover, one of the things that I'm looking for is what's common for the genre, right? And you can see from this that this is very common, that a lot of them have like this lone chair, which I don't want the chair to be, I don't want it to be just a lone chair. I want it to be the two characters there. But having their backs to the camera seems to be something that is seen that works for women's fiction, right? Or they wouldn't have it. So here you can see, right, there's two people. This one's very close to what I'm looking for, except it would be, the mom and the daughter, and it wouldn't be the ocean. It would be maybe a setting like this, right? This is what I think I'm leaning towards. At first, I was thinking maybe I would have her by herself, kind of looking out into the distance, but I like the idea of having the mother and the daughter and the chairs and them chatting. It's a nice thing. So I'm gonna go back, and there we go. Here's everything I've just kind of looked at. But there was one that I did like, and there's a lot of these too, right? Where the people again are you see the backs and they're looking out into the setting, and I like that. I also noticed this is another big thing, but it doesn't fit for me. But there are a lot of women's fictions that just are the front door, which is really interesting because it's almost like what's behind that front door. What does this have to do with the story? So that's a little bit intriguing, but I'm leaning more towards this. And there was oh, this one I'd really like to. I should save it because it does show the setting. So this is lavender. Mine would be orange blossoms. And again, something like this. I like the sky. I don't like this. I was leaning towards something like this too, where I was thinking, oh, the heroine could be standing, looking out into her distance, kind of thinking about her life and her past. But then it doesn't show the relationship. This shows a relationship. Like this is about two people. It's not just about her. It's about her mom, her story. So anyhow, I'm not really seeing that other one that I saw that I did like because it showed a couple, and then the background was more of a blur so that you didn't see, and it wasn't this one. So I don't know. I guess it's not here. But anyhow, I think that this is interesting, and I'm gonna go with probably with that. At least what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give my what I like to my cover designer and say, okay, yeah, I like this aspect of this, but I don't like this, right? I like to have it look more like a setting like this, like my own book, my own previous book. And I like the back more than the front because I think the front, you actually have to have the two characters, and then you're going to have you're going to have an image of the two people, and I'm not really interested in that. Like, I want people to use their imagination. I mean, I describe the characters, so I think that's enough that people can kind of put that um, into their mind, and then it doesn't have to be their faces looking out. But I do kind of like the way this is, because I could have the orange groves in the background, and I can have the fire pit here and the two people talking. So I'm going to actually save this into my list and talk to my cover designer about it and see what she thinks. That, where's my list? Here it is, add to my list. And I hope that means it's added. Continue shopping. Okay. So, um, so yeah, I think I've kind of settled on it. And again, I did a much longer recording before that didn't record. But really, what I wanted to share with you is that well, this is part of the process of publishing my book. Is figuring out what it is I like, what it is that I want to what I want the cover to look like, what do I want to, how do I want to brand it so that it's very similar to my previous one, especially since it has the same characters, it's in the same town, all of that. It should be similar to this, should look similar to this book, in color probably, and in theme, but there has to be some difference. So maybe if we combine something like this with something like this, I think it might be nice and it might be good. So at this point, what I'm going to be doing is giving my ideas to my cover designer and then seeing what my cover designer comes up with. So what ideas she can pull these things together and see if there's something that she can create for me. Thanks for joining me, and I will keep you updated on how it goes and if I find the cover or when this actually goes to the cover designer and see what the cover designer comes up with. I'll definitely share that with you as well. So I will see you again next Wednesday, and we'll see how the progress of the book is coming along.